Welcome to Recruitertv, brought to you by the Technology and Recruitment Alliance and sponsored by Smart Recruit Online, the UK's first fully automated online recruitment toolkit for recruiters and HR professionals. In our news bulletins this week, we look at the latest news in the BBC jobs row and take a look at how HMV employees who were made redundant hijacked the company's official Twitter account. We also review the latest REC report on Britain's battle for talent and consider a new independent report that claims Britain has some of the worst bosses in Europe. But first this month, we start with the story that police in England and Wales face a recruitment shake-up, according to a BBC News report out this month. Currently, all police recruits must begin work as a constable and work their way up, but new legislation will allow some individuals to skip the compulsory 2 years on the beat. The government plans to allow direct entry to senior police jobs in the UK, and senior officers from overseas will now be able to run police forces in England and Wales for the first time. Outsiders will be able to join the force as superintendents, and recruits can be fast-tracked to inspectors. Police Minister Damian Green said that the service would benefit from a wider talent pool. However, critics disagree. Steve House, Chief Constable of Police Services in Scotland, believes the prospect of foreign nationals running forces in the UK will create a counter-terrorism risk. Currently, all police recruits must begin work as a constable, but the new proposal will allow some to skip the compulsory 2 years on the beat, and that has obvious risks attached to it. Last month saw BBC journalists go on a 24-hour strike in a dispute over redundancies. The BBC is planning to cut 2,000 jobs over a 5-year period as part of its programme of delivering a Quality First programme. Now, thousands of BBC journalists and technical staff are to be balloted for strike action over job losses and increased stress and workload. BBC union representative Jerry Morrissey said, "We would prefer to have a sensible conversation with the BBC management about the damage done in the first year of these cuts. But instead, we've had to turn up the pressure to protect thousands of members from overwork, bullying and stress." The BBC seems to believe that staff can continue supporting the full range of services despite a 20% reduction in resources and massive job cuts. In response, a BBC spokesperson explained they will be meeting with the unions next week and hope to reach a resolution. He then went on to say that they have significant saving targets to meet and strike action will not alter this. The latest report by the Recruitment and Employment Confederation have seen the sharpest increase in salaries this year. They say this is due to a reduction in candidate availability and a continued growth in permanent vacancies. Figures reveal that those placed in permanent jobs have risen for the 4th consecutive month. Tom Hadley, Director of Policy and Professional Services at the REC, says this war for talent has begun. January saw the sharpest rise in starting salaries in well over a year after a 9-month trend of increases. The rise is caused by continued growth in permanent vacancies, combined with a reduction in candidate availability. This is good news for workers, but also highlights the need to address the current skills shortage, which presents a major barrier to growth in key sectors of our economy. Skills shortages in whole sectors like engineering and IT, and for particular roles like chefs, drivers and sales, are spurring competition for qualified staff. Employers are realising that to secure the talent they need to have to offer more attractive salaries. And finally, we look at a story that has emerged this month that Britain has some of the worst bosses in Europe. According to an ICM independent survey, 1 in 3 bosses behave badly. A new IBP survey found that as many as 1 in 3 bosses were culpable of bad behaviour and as many as 11% responsible for inappropriate or despicable behaviour on a regular basis. 12% of the people surveyed said they had personally experienced unacceptable behaviour in the last 12 months, with grievances mainly consisting of inappropriate language, bullying, lying and breaching confidentiality. It was found many employees have taken action against their bosses, offensive behaviour, with 13% seeking another job and 4% resigning without even having a new job to go to. In another shocking revelation, the survey revealed that as many as 10% of bosses would often purposely disrupt the workplace, making a real impact on company profitability. The report suggests that the British workplace is rife with David Brent, like bosses and Hitlers. The report also highlighted that men and young people were far less tolerant of bad bosses than women, and that London and Scotland have the best bosses in the country, with the South West coming out worst in this poll. Well, that's all from me in the recruitment headlines for this month. Don't forget that you can find all of our news bulletins for this month by going to the Recruitertv YouTube account. I'm Rezi Gadjar, speaking for Recruitertv, brought to you by the Technology and Recruitment Alliance and sponsored by Smart Recruit Online, the UK's very first fully automated online recruitment solution for recruiters and HR professionals.